Eikon. As many of you may know, if you're subscribed to the channel, I very much enjoyed ZMF's Tour. And I got a lot of crap for it because it's expensive and people don't seem to like expensive headphones. But here we are again. And I want to point out, before I get into this, everything I review on this channel, I'm reviewing from the perspective of a person who doesn't make a lot of money, and as someone who would be essentially paying for this headphone full price. If I'm reviewing Eikon, if I'm reviewing the 99 Classics, if I'm reviewing the M1060, the M300s, the HD650, any of that stuff, it is from the perspective of someone who would be paying for that headphone full price and who does not make a lot of money. So for me to praise a headphone that costs over $1,000, to me personally at least, means a lot. And I do have a few things here and there about some headphones that are very nice that I don't like. As you'll find out in an upcoming video, I'm actually not a big fan of the faux cavalier, but they do have their strengths. So with that said, I'd like to talk about Eikon. Eikon is a closed-back biocellulose dynamic headphone from ZMF. They are handmade and, as you can probably guess by looking at them, exceptionally well crafted. Everything that ZMF has made so far that I've seen, as far as their dynamics go, is beyond any level of premium build that I would expect from almost any manufacturer. Now, with that premium build does come a price. They are relatively heavy, though, unlike the LCD2, these are actually comfortable. I can wear these for a pretty long period of time before my neck gets tired, though it does happen eventually. If you are a slightly more built person than me, this might not be a problem for you. So the cups are made of wood. This is a closed back headphone. The headband is mostly constructed out of metal and leather, as well as the leather pads that you could interchange them for a variety of different pads available on ZMF's website. I have a hard time personally picking between the leather pads that come with the Eikon or the Eikon micro suede pads. And we'll talk about that when we get into sound signature. The mechanism to adjust the headphones on the side slides up and down relatively easily and is held in place by the pressure of the headphones pushing against them on your head. They do not have a very high clamp force. They do have some clamp. It's not as much as Sennheiser's, though it's just enough to take some of the weight off the top of my head up here, and luckily, because of this particular shape, the weight is put more on the sides of my head than on the dead center, which is something I've had trouble with on a lot of headphones, and which is why I like the 650s, because they have clamp and they have this little gap right here. These also come with a carrying case that scared the hotel owner as I was on the way back from Rocky Mountain Audio Fest because they thought I was carrying guns with me. So needless to say, it's pretty heavy duty and I wouldn't be worried about shipping these or dropping them in that case. So with that out of the way, it really boils down to build. You're probably not going to find anything that feels this premium probably anywhere that I've seen so far. Who knows? I'm going to check out the HD820 in a week and a half, so we'll see how those hold up, but they're also a lot more expensive. M560 is also super well built. I know I talked about those, but those are the kind of well built where you would, throw them off a building and they'd be fine, whereas this is the kind of well built where you look at them and they look like as much of a piece of art as they sound like. And speaking of, let's talk about that sound. As I said, these are closed back headphones. This comes with some benefits and it comes with some downsides. Downsides is there is, of course, going to be somewhere in your frequency response a peak. For these, that peak, though not too drastic, comes in at 6K, which if you know me, you know 6K is a problem for me. Coming from a background in sound engineering, I generally prefer headphones to be as flat as possible or lean towards warm, one of those two. These are a little bit warm, and that 6K peak, while it does bother me, it's not significant enough to be a deal breaker, and I found myself, after listening to them, I just got a phone call, I'm back. After a very brief time listening to them, my ears actually adjusted, and it's fine. I can totally live with the 6K peak. It's not a deal breaker. Though if there was one thing I could change, that would be it. Aside from that, I want to note that this is one pair of headphones that actually allows me to talk about micro detail. and microdynamics, specifically microdynamics, because one of the traits, particularly usually of closed-back headphones, is that they have very little dynamics, whereas these closed-back headphones have more dynamics than almost any open-back headphone I've heard. With a couple exceptions, Focal Utopia, I'm not a fan of the sound signature, but Focal Utopia does have incredible dynamics. But these come in a close second, and at a fraction of the price, whereas the Focal Utopia is, what, $4,000 now? Something around there? It gets to the point where I notice things in music, especially in well-produced music, that I never would have, in any situation, heard otherwise. The sound of a guitar string reverberating around in a room, or say the sound of the edge of someone's breath on the end of a word that I couldn't pick up with things even like 650s or HD 700s, or even some LCDs. This is, without a doubt, the best closed-back headphone I have ever heard, period. Like I said, I'm about to hear the HD 820 in about 11 days, so that could change, who knows, but I want to take into note the price difference as well. We'll see how that turns out. So, I have to leave very soon, but I want to cover a couple more points, one of which being pad changes. The perforated Eikon pads do seem to reduce the low end on these, make them a bit more mid-forward. I'm personally not a fan of that style, so I didn't listen to that too much. The stock leather Eikon pads that generally ship with them is probably one of the best tunings. It makes them slightly warm, and you still retain, of course, that 6K peak, but it isn't too bad. And then there is the ZMF Micro Suede pads, which do cut down on the peak, but bump up the warmth quite a bit. This makes them sound a bit less lively, and kind of takes away their shimmer. However, it can be pleasing in some instances if you're listening to music that is more compressed or more bright. However, in most situations, I'm going to say that the straight-up leather Eikon pads that come with them are the way to go. And now, I hate to cut this short, but I'm pretty sure I covered the key points I wanted to, and I have to get on the road and start driving 10 minutes ago. So, if you like this video, please like it. If there's anything I missed, leave a comment down below. I'm usually not great about answering comments, but I'm going to stick pretty hard to the comments on this video. And before anybody asks me, yes, I do prefer these actually over Z1R. I said it. Also, don't forget to subscribe, and if you want to support the channel, check out my Patreon where you get early access to videos as well as exclusive content like unboxings and impressions on headphones before I post the reviews. But until next time, guys, peace.
But a man is gonna be rearranged. But a man is gonna be rearranged.